All right, so here's the way Willard phrased this, and then I would like you to weigh. I find it very interesting. So take a listen. This is from last night at the Red and Gold Summit.
If the Niners are to go to or win a Super Bowl, assuming everyone is healthy, who is the most important player for them on the team this year? Here are your candidates: Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Fred Warner. So pick one, and let's go for...
That's what I'm saying.
There you go. Let's go for, by a show of applause, is the most important player Brock Purdy?
Wow. Wow.
Is the most important player Deebo Samuel? How about Christian McCaffrey?
Okay. Whoa. Wow.
Nick Bosa.
Voice. Wow.
George Kittle. We love you, George.
How about Clark Kittle?
Shout out to the Zenny sunglasses. Good job, Dibs.
Appreciate it.
Fred Warner.
How about Kurt Warner?
That felt like McCaffrey 1,
Yeah.
Purdy 2,
Yeah.
Bosa 3, Deebo 4, Kittle 5, Warner 6.
I'd say Trent Williams 4.
Okay.
All right, so there's
wow, man,
a couple things there that I think are going to be fun to get into. One is clearly the majority of the people last night think Christian McCaffrey is the most important player on the 49ers. And he's got to stay healthy, have a great year. But the thing to me one of the things I found interesting was George Kittle. Nobody said George Kittle, and I get it. They've got weaponry.
Yeah.
But a few years back, I could never imagine the 49ers winning a Super Bowl without George Kittle. So the fact that he's kind of been pushed down in the pecking order is an indication of how much
things have changed,
how much firepower this team has for sure.
Well, tell me when I could. I'll know when to respond is when you stop talking. But Steiny, even at the height of his popularity, and Evan, you tell me what you think. Bosa was never putting up Kelsey numbers. It was his personality, which to me, his wrestling persona that had him the fan favorite. So I just think now, with C-Mac in town and Ayuk and Deebo and Brock Purdy's success, is that what we're supposed to take from the Crickets? Well, because he's still as popular as he's ever been.
What we're supposed to take from the Crickets is that if George Kittle were not on the San Francisco 49ers, they still have every opportunity to win a Super Bowl. They lose the least amount of player talent to win the Super Bowl. See, to me, I'm not saying it's easy, but to me, it's kind of obvious. Like the one player, I don't think they can win it all. That's the way I would phrase it.
Brock was my answer.
Who's the one player who they can't win it all without? And to me, it's Nick Bosa. If they don't have Nick Bosa on defense, how can they win a Super Bowl? And this is what I said last night. If you want to, and I kind of scoff at it, but if you want to tell me that the 49ers have so much weaponry that there's a plethora of options.
Yeah.
They got Deebo, and they have Kittle, and they have Ayuk, and they have McCaffrey. Well, then that tells me the most important player might be on the other side of the ball because they do have so many options on offense. Not that they wouldn't miss a guy here and there. I think it's Bosa. I think if you take Bosa off that defense, then they're not a good enough defensive team to win a Super Bowl. So to me, Bosa is the player you can least afford to not have if you want to win a Super Bowl. 888-957-9570 is the number. How do you weigh in on that? Who's the most important San Francisco 49er? Who can they not win it without?
That's interesting, man, because I'll say this, and we've talked about the non-stars that the Niners have lost on the defensive line. They've lost some depth, but nobody as good as Bosa. But Steiny, if he were to go down, you still got Hargrave, who is he equal to Bosa? You want to say a poor man's Bosa? Then you have Armstead. That was good enough to get you to the NFC Championship game last year, again, with that depth. But to me, it's everything that we talk about on the offensive side of the ball. You have to have somebody to distribute that, and you have to be quick. And that's what I see from Brock Purdy and his quarterback mannerisms. So to me, and I'm waiting on you to go Eddie Murray on me at Ghostbusters, because the other day, I'm the same dude that told you, I wouldn't panic with Darnold, but I see the skies clearly now. The rain is gone. It's Brock Purdy, Steiny.
So what are you saying?
It's Brock and Darnold would give me, if I were a Niner fan, an ulcer. And I watched that last preseason game, Darnold. There's still some degree of seeing go. Like, he ain't said it, but he's not perfect. And if you look at his career, you're like, Goo, you're right. So I think I overestimated him handling this and everything being status quo. So Brock Purdy for me, Steiny. Maybe we put it on the poll.
Yeah, and we can talk about it right now. Steiny, Kittle had little applause because he's been hurt and he's missed a lot of the games. The Patriots won the Super Bowl with Gronk out for years, not to compare. Yeah, I think the point there is 415, and thanks for the text. It's just Kittle's kind of, I don't want to say forgotten, but
what if
he's become less important to the offense in terms of a ball receiver.
Okay, now what if Willard would have said, hey guys, who's the most popular 49er? I honestly believe George Kittle would have won that one.
I think it's McCaffrey now.
See, I don't think he's been here long enough to win it. Like, they appreciate him, Steiny, and those are fact. Hey, but we're talking about the history that George Kittle has with this franchise, and maybe that's why there were crickets. Evan, you tell me what you guys think, because we've taken him for granted. George Kittle, he's been here.
I also think there's just so many other options on this team to choose from that it's almost like he gets counted out because they're splitting votes between Debo and Fred, and he's just not really at the top of mind anymore.
Yeah, and here's the issue. When you talk about who gets the ball.
Zimmer.
Well, you want McCaffrey to get the ball running and catching.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because he's sure-handed and he's good and he's quick and he's got great hands. He doesn't fumble. Who else you want to get the ball? Oh, Ayuk. I mean, he could be a number one anywhere else.
Debo,
so Ayuk's got to get the ball. Debo, he's a special kind of playmaker. Unicorn, one of a kind.
Yeah.
So guess what? The tight end with the average hands isn't going to get the ball as much as them.
But the biggest play.
But he can block for us.
All that too. But I'll say this, Donnie, about that NFC Championship win. That conference game against the Dallas Cowboys. George Kittle made the biggest play in that game. And that was across the middle where he bobbled it.
Yep.
And Diggs didn't even hit him to try to separate him from the ball. But I'm just saying, with all that firepower, a good defense, it still will come down to a couple of plays. And Kittle made that bad boy.